The year is 1981. Salvador Sanchezs is in his unequivocal prime, and although only 22 years old, is already securing his claim as a Hall of Famer.
Sanchez is the type of fighter, he doesn't need to see an opponent because he's able to adapt to any style, which makes him a very unique fighter.
Despite his youth, he constantly fights against the odds and seems to get better with every new task. Tonight, however, the odds are stacked against Sal like never before. The man in front of him seems more machine than man, with both a right and left that break bones like the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk. And armed with sickening power and 32 wins, all of which by knockout.
He was just a juggernaut.
Well, Wilfredo Gomez, a knockout, bazooka knockout, monster.
This man, of course, is Wilfredo Bazooka Gomez. Many expect this to be Sanchez's toughest and possibly final fight. Yet, the Invisible Eagle has other plans. And while Gomez's power is touted as world-ending, it's actually both fighters who wield career-ending bazookas. And not just in their fists, but their minds, blood, and brawn. Both Sanchezs and Gomez earned reputations through distinct styles. Bazooka with his relentless knockouts, and Sanchezs with his unpredictable reign and unforeseeable victories.
This is what makes him so special with Sanchezs. As good as you are, the greater you are, the more he gets.
Sanchezs showcased adaptability, defeating power punchers like Danny Lopez.
Knocked him out in 10 instead of 14. Beat him up worse.
Counterpunchers like Juan Laporte and fast fighters like Ruben Castillo, with his rapidly improving defense and endless offense.
A big right hand, and down goes.
Salvador Sanchezs looked between round 1 and round 2, the same as he looked between round 14 and round 15.
Despite having an early loss in his career along with a draw, he'd never once been knocked out or even hurt. So for Wilfredo to have so much confidence in his power seemed foolish, albeit admirable. Although, if anyone was likely to knock out the Invisible Eagle, it only makes sense that Wilfredo Bazooka Gomez would be the one to do it. Gomez had fewer wins, yet a longer career, and faced lower caliber opponents early on, only entering boxing's upper echelon rather recently. His defining moment, however, that eclipsed everything Sanchezs had achieved to that point was, of course, his 6th-round knockout of Carlos Zarate, who was then undefeated and a pound-for-pound legend.
It's over. He hit it with some right hand.
He was naturally aggressive, but he could also box.
Ferocity and savage punching, speed. People never told him it was fast, but he's very fast. Has great anticipation of punching. He's just all-around marvel in the ring.
Gomez's other wins over Leo Cruz and Royal Kobayashi, while significant, paled in comparison to his victory over Zarate.
This is his last defense as a bantamweight champion. He is going to be able to go on into the featherweight champions, and he wants to take on Sanchezs.
Gomez, being the confident fighter he was, vowed to strike an early knockout, as he usually did. But this was a particularly controversial thing to say when building up to this fight, as not only is he moving up in weight to face a proven champion, but this champion was born and bred in Mexico, which is to say his chin seemed unbreakable.
Some of the baddest dudes to ever walk the face of this earth have been Mexicans.
Yeah.
When somebody tells you you fight like a Mexican, it is the biggest compliment you could ever get.
Though both men possess legendary status, their fight teemed with tension due to the Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry. Many bouts of animosity and natural pride occurred here, like Miguel Cotto versus Antonio Margarito, and the rivalry always resulted in a classic war of attrition with exciting fights, if not controversial decisions.
And down goes Tito!
Despite the rivalry, though, the competition between these two class acts remained respectful. The fight took place on August 21st, 1981. The two fighters approached the ring. Gomez leads a Puerto Rican musical ensemble to display his pride and confidence, and Salvador mirrors this pride with a mariachi band, reflecting positivity and a love of the sport and his fans. The two are then swiftly introduced, and after briefly touching gloves, the fight, billed as the Battle of the Little Giants, commences.
Here we go, round one.
And it's exciting. It's going to be a very interesting fight.
His actual record, 32 knockouts.
Well, we have 2 more checks. Right hand in there. Look like it hurts Sanchez with a right hand.
Oh, Gomez is down. Up to 4 and 5. He's back on his feet, as you see. A surprise left hook, I guess.
But Sanchez will hurt him, then to turn around and hit Gomez.
Gomez is in trouble.
Gomez is in trouble.
Gomez is in big trouble.
He's in big trouble. He's holding it. He got the hold. I think the fight going to end easy.
Oh, he's down.
Gomez is hurt. So, this fight is not going to go. Gomez is going to get hurt. He can't move. He has no balance in his legs. And right now, Sanchez just teeing off on Gomez. But I don't see no way that Gomez will be able to survive this. He survived the round.
It's a miracle, Larry, that he gets through that round. A miracle he gets through the round.
You can see it in his eyes. Gomez taking good punches to the body, but Sanchez is throwing 3 or 4 punches at a time. Dangerous with Sanchez to lay on the rope and let a puncher like Gomez get in there. But again, Gomez should be in there taking punches himself because he ain't clear yet from first base. Just got hit with
Real good right hand gets through that time.
After weathering horror through the first 2 rounds, Wilfredo Gomez picks up his slack through the majority of the third. Gomez decides to keep things active by forcing Sal to constantly move while landing crippling uppercuts and body shots at pivotal moments to keep control. Sanchez's engine is undeniable, but when taking body shots from one of boxing's hardest ever punchers, many reasonably questioned whether the invincible Eagle would be able to stomach such crippling power punches to the gut for a full 15 rounds.
So Gomez got to be very careful. Man, a good left hook, another good left from Sanchez. I don't think Sanchez will want to get in there and play punches with Gomez. We should circle around and get out of there. I don't feel there'll be a lot of determination. Good punch by Sanchez. Good right hand by Gomez. Good right hand by Sanchez. Gomez is trying to tee it out on him.
Round 5 has some of Sal's strongest work yet. He glides around the ring like a figure skater while countering masterfully in exchanges that would make men of lesser hearts than Gomez consider retiring completely from the sport. But the two continue to fight in the phone box as Salvador executes pitch-perfect lateral defense with slick head movement and outworks his now one-eyed foe.
Gomez again showed you all the determination in the second round.
One thing, he has the heart of a champion no matter what happens to him.
That's right. Sanchez got hit with punches like that, though. Have a little bit longer arm than Sanchez. Here they go, taking punches again. He got hit with a left hook while he was coming out like that. And I don't count Gomez out yet because he's still got a lot going for himself. Good right hand there again by Gomez.
Look at the face of Gomez. He's really taking a lot of punishment to the face.
Yes, I've never seen Gomez puffed up like this in any days of boxing.
It's very cool. He's very calm and collected.
I think this is not good for Gomez to back up though.
It's time and taking a little bit of that wind out of Gomez. Gomez's legs are still rubbery.
Very wobbly, very rubbery. The aggressor is still, he's changed now.
Good punches like that. Every time Sanchez get on the ropes, he's vulnerable for those punches.
Gomez's legs really shook that time.
Well, as you look at both corners, you can see just in the facial expression of the two of them which man is out in front of the fight. But round number 8.
I feel that Gomez wants to try to go for broke because he knows his eyes are swollen up on him, and he wants Sanchez in the corner so he can shoot all he got. He's still fighting hard. Still fighting hard.
But he's trying. I know that he wants to get the big one in so he can get Sanchez out of there.
Round 8 has Salvador Sanchezs finally break through the sheer will of Wilfredo Gomez. After a barrage of blows to the body and dome that has Gomez out on his feet, the champion finally ends up down for the count.
Gomez is on the rope. He's cut on in the nose again. He's hurt. He's hurt. Gomez is hurt.
It's down. It's gone.
Counts up to 3. It's 4. He's up.
He can't see. The rest is not.
That's it.
That's it.
Fight is over.
That's the fight. A TKO win in the 8th round for Salvador Sanchezs, who retains the WBC World Heavyweight Champion.
Salvador Sanchezs has upset the odds, earned a spot in the Hall of Fame, and won over thousands of new fans, all on one magical night. And Wilfredo Gomez has finally found a chin that can't be cracked, while facing not just the canvas for the first time himself, but also someone who matched, if not exceeded, his incredible skill set.
Sanchez is a great champion. I'm sure you'll hear a lot more from Sanchez in the near future because he's a great champion.
Both men continue to fight great battles. Sanchezs, of course, scored memorable victories over the Hall of Fame legend Azuma Nelson in his final fight, along with an underrated victory over the British Olympic medalist Pat Cowdell not long before.
And he's got Cowdell at the very finish. 20 seconds to go, and a right hand finds the British champion.
While Wilfredo Gomez claimed impressive wins over Lupe Pintor and Juan Laporte, as well as a controversial decision over Rocky Lockridge, all of which stood as entertaining, skillful champions in their primes. Despite Salvador Sanchezs' victory being surprisingly one-sided over Wilfredo Gomez, both men were great enough to the point that there was still demand for a rematch, and Gomez seemed to be interested in it most of all. Unfortunately, though, fate wouldn't have the two champions meet again, as Sanchezs came face to face with his own mortality when driving through his home country, failing to recover and leaving boxing worse for wear, with an all-time great in his physical prime being taken from pugilism in arguably the hardest era to become a star, due to the constant influx of greats presenting themselves yearly around the turn of the 80s, such as Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Evander Holyfield, and more.
You know, when you're looking at guys like Salvador Sanchezs, who was one of my favorite all-time fighters, but the things and the legendary fights that he was having at his age, you know, we don't know if he would have had 10 more years. Will we even be talking about who's number 1 on that list?
The best fight I ever saw, honestly, skill-wise, was a guy by the name of Salvador Sanchezs.
The greatest Mexican fighter of all time is one of my favorite fighters, Salvador Sanchezs. You know what I'm saying? Salvador is the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, period.
A man who came in and took the title from me, and I consider myself a pretty good champion at the time, and he came and he showed me he was better. And to hear that he was at the age of 23 was hard to take.
Well, he's a guy with unique talent. He's one of the few fighters that's able to hurt his opponent and get rid of him, just like myself.
I think Sanchez is just hard to beat. He's one of those guys, if you're a halfway fighter, decent fighter, you might last the distance. As good as you are, the greater you are, the more he can